Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Red Dirt and Stardust, a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I was about to say Gothic horror.
Yep.
Wrong campaign. We're still getting used to it. Cowboy and pirate sci-fi campaign. Where last we left the party, they faced off against Eric Zann, the brother of Mildred Zann, who was taken to the other side by spirits years ago as he dabbled with controlling them with a violin. They then had brunch at the Tortoiseshell Tea Room, where they met some very familiar figures, at least to Shaw. They then shopped around on the dock, and from a very particular woman with a very particular parrot, heard about a very particular emerald smuggling scheme being done by a person that sold clams and oysters. After doing some light shopping, they found their way back to the boat where one of the members of this little smuggling ring introduced herself as Toshiko with a little living lamp named Oki. She took them to the cave where they found sea lions and a goblin apparently taming them. And as they went up into this emerald mine, one of the characters, Chauncey, ran into an old acquaintance, a gorgon named Hortensia. And that is where we start, as Hortensia just stands there, shocked for a moment. Chauncey?
Ho- Hortensia? Chauncey's eyes are like welling up already, and he's like, "You, you're alive!" And he just runs across the room.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
she is already prepared. She is like arms open wide. You both are bawling as she just wraps her arms around you. I'm so glad you're safe. I was so worried, especially after that huge fireball that I watched. Just you and Delmas disappear into.
I,
I'm
I,
so happy you're alive.
I thought the fire got you. I thought the fire got you and everybody else. And Delm and I, we barely got out.
I barely got out myself. I lost track of everybody else. I was just running.
Oh, he's like, I mean, they're hugging and he's crying and like Chauncey cries tears of blood, so it's not pretty when he cries at all.
Yeah, I mean, Hortensia's used to this. She's herself also a monster. She is a Gorgon. So, she's used to this. Um,
What what are you what are you he pull like they're doing that like pull back still he's holding her by either
yep,
shoulders like
she's also got your like upper
what
arms.
what are you doing here? Are you sm are you oh are you smuggling emeralds? What?
Uh, Oh well, not really me. Um, I you see, Tuska was a bit worried, especially after I kind of told him a little bit of what happened with Corrigan. He was a little worried about um weapons being used against ships, and as much as he loves shipping emeralds, he wanted to surprisingly he wanted to go into a venture of developing protection around ships, shields for ships so that they don't get shot, um, particularly not by land-based weapons. And as it turns out, I had the know-it-all and the wherewithal to provide him with some services for this project. Um, so I've been working with some of the emeralds from the Emerald Mine to develop arcane shields that will protect against projectiles. That's been my project for the past 9 months.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing well. I Delmas and I wound up moving to a little hole in the wall. We wanted to get away, and but life happened. Oh God, where are my manners? These are I've
was
been
you going to
traveling.
introduce us or
Oh, everyone,
And she
this
kind of
is
wipes her tear. You notice she is actually crying gold as as well. So she also has weird tears.
And
So yeah, she's like
Velantrios
wiping gold from her face.
Velantrios just goes up with a handkerchief and he's like, there, everything will be okay as he's collecting the gold.
She doesn't pick up on this. She just takes the handkerchief from your hand and continues like just dabbing at her eyes. It is lovely to meet you all.
Oh,
I'm happy that our lovely little Chauncey was able to make friends after everything that happened.
and so the two of you know each other from back before Chauncey came to us in Drake's Ridge.
Yes.
Hortensia was a senior member at the workshop that I trained at. Delmas and I were the apprentices, and Hortensia was one of the 3 crew builds underneath our old boss.
Oh,
I'm gonna speak into Chauncey's mind again and say, now I'll leave this up to you, but any merit to telling her that your friend Corrigan is out and about again?
Oh God, I mean, oh, you're right. Do you think it's a good time to tell her? I mean, oh God, I don't want to bring a bad. I mean, I
It seems
told
she's been
Delmas.
preparing for this exact situation, but
Oh,
I'll leave it
you're
to
right.
you.
You're right. Ugh, I hate it when you do that.
Well, I can't exactly say it in front of her.
Hortensia, about our old boss.
oh, right.
She's kind of MIA right now. She escaped the prison, and we're kind of maybe trying to. Look what I got! And he just reaches into his bag of holding and pulls out the giant pyre maul. You remember this thing, right?
When he starts talking about that, I'm just gonna leave her to Lyla and be like, "Is that the bounty y'all are after?"
Um, seems like
Yeah, Hortensia just kind of stares shocked. How did you get her hammer?
She had to, for some reason, she left it behind. She was in a prison ship with some other unsavory types, and
found
they
it wrapped up
managed.
on the mountain.
Yeah, they wrecked on a mountain and they escaped. And I mean, we found some of her blueprints, and it's not good. I'll just say that. She's up to her usual tricks.
Oh yeah, with the weird bird thing.
As Miss
Oh, right.
Lyla. And Chauncey's gonna be like, she's doing what she does, Hortensia. She's out of her goddamn mind, and she's building some horrible weapon to do what she likes to do.
That's actually why we're seeking your help, so we can go stop her.
Well, she certainly does need to be stopped after everything that happened, and she revealed her true colors to us. It was clear that anything in her hands is threatening.
Dangerous.
Yes, incredibly dangerous. Um,
Next thing you know, she's gonna have her own mechanical army.
I would not be surprised.
Maybe let's not ponder. Hmm?
Hortensia, you aren't. This is Lovey May.
I was wondering if you were going to introduce Lovey May.
You're the one. Well, remember how you told me I should. This is Lovey May. You always told me that I should try, designing my own things more often, and I had some spare time and
yes.
some spare components and bits, and Lovey May just does like a robot curtsy.
I'm gonna be
Well-
completely honest. I completely forgot about Lovey May.
Oh yeah, she's literally always there. Like she's
Every
Just
time-
never not there.
omnipresent.
Every time Lovey May gets brought
Lurking.
up, I just think of Megan.
Oh my goodness.
Oh God, no.
I mean,
Oh, it's
Not
way more
quite.
tasteful than
if
that.
we're being honest, the trailers for Megan came out
Yeah.
while we were designing characters for campaign 2.
True.
Yep.
True.
You see,
He
He
did definitely does the Megan
did
dance.
say though from the beginning it was going to be a creepy doll. Like
Yeah.
he knew for sure it
I
was
was
going to
like,
be creepy
she's gonna be a
dolls.
creepy doll made sidekick best friend.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, but here's the thing: when you think of Megan, you think of the doll. When I think of Megan, I think of Megan from Jake and Josh.
Anyway, so yes,
Okay.
Lovey May does a little curtsy and she, well, that's a mighty fine work of engineering, if I do say so myself. All the parts fit together quite right and still mobile as ever. I
And a
knew
hell
you
of a
could do
useful
it.
compatriot, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I'm sure. With the amount of little birds he put together, I'd be surprised if it wasn't useful.
And that was the birds were just they were practice, honestly. Make those birds in my sleep at this point.
Well, you
We
sound
all
like you'll
could.
help yourself.
Now, why don't we get down to business?
Yes, is there anything that I can help you with? I'm assuming you're taking Tusky's boat somewhere.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the one.
yep, I'm sure uh their crew's gonna take you over to Creator's Hollow. They're gonna forward some paperwork. You'll probably get a day over in Creator's Hollow.
Yep.
But is there anything that I can help you with? I just know what you're going up against, and I know even with all of us, we struggled.
How Hortensia, how are you with elemental reagents?
Oh.
You got a decent workshop over
Well,
here?
seeing as how I am a Gorgon and we have some ties to the plane of Earth, I can work with elemental energies.
Chauncey's gonna reach into his bag and fish out the salamander heart, and he's gonna be like, I've been tinkering, but this is a little out of my typical wheelhouse these
The
days.
moment you pull out the salamander heart, she nearly jumps out of her skin. How did you get that?
Oh, we killed a salamander. It's not that big of a deal.
The
You
usual
killed a
way.
salamander.
It was
Yeah.
a group effort. Isn't that right,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
for the most
Yeah.
part.
Mostly
lady
me.
and gentlemen? Right? We did it. We did it.
Remember your humbleness, preacher.
I got the killing blow, but you know.
Well,
Yeah. No big deal, right?
well, my goodness, if your newfound friends and yourself were able to take down a salamander, then perhaps we are not so far out of our depth as I thought we'd be.
Chauncey's just gonna have
Sherman.
that moment where he's like, and not like it's not him being sarcastic. He's just gonna be like, "Is it hard?"
Yes.
Well, you remember going up against Corrigan when she when she did what she did, and we all tried taking her down, and what happened, and she was still alive.
Well, Corrigan's a genius. A salamander doesn't know. I'd be more concerned about Corrigan's intelligence than just a big old brute salamander, but
And
that's me. But could you help me sort this out, Hortensia? I'd be really indebted to you.
Yes. Come here to my lab. Sherman, make sure you get those papers to Tusky. I've gotten a little bit farther. And Sherman kind of holds the paper very delicately in his claw, which very clearly, if he closed it all the way, would just slice the paper like scissors, but he just kind of nods and turns and walks off. Well, come along. And she leads you up the stairs to a nice wide, and it's not spacious, but it certainly is large enough. She has a desk covered in papers pinned to the wall, of designs. Like she has like an engineering desk that leans up, papers, compasses, all kinds of things. She has piles upon piles of emeralds and various different items like helmets and amulets and lockets and all kinds of things. There's also a circle carved into the floor with various runes and arcane sigils and other things like that, which presumably she does some of her more powerful infusions in, needing to have something like a ritual space. Well, I may need your help to ensure that things don't quite go awry. Um, but what are you hoping to get? What is there anything in particular that you all need?
Um, Work, to be honest.
I
Well,
think
you
she means
can.
with the heart.
Oh.
But
Yes, with the heart.
I
well,
haven't the foggiest idea about that sort of thing.
yeah, I mean, I'm no artificer. That's the word, right? That's what you guys are.
That is
I'm
what
not one of those, but that's a big fire thing. You got a big fire hammer. Kind of just bing bang. That's me connecting two dots there.
I
Yeah,
yeah.
I like the sounds of that.
Corrigan's hammer is a giant fire hammer, but don't discount yourself either, Virgil. You cast a lot of fire spells too. We might be able to get something for you. Could we get maybe a little something for him out of this too?
Possibly. It seems like this has quite a lot of elemental energy in it. So I think we should get the hammer first. That seems
Oh,
like it would draw the most power.
Okay.
we got the hammer.
Where is this going? I am so
Wait,
fascinated.
safety first. And then Chauncey, out of his bag of holding, pulls out like
Goggles.
goggles, like they're straight out of Emperor's New Groove, Yzma and Kronk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
The rest of you may not want to be in the room or at least look directly at this. I don't know if it'll blind you by accident.
I might have a few more goggles around here somewhere. I know I have plenty of aprons, and she starts pulling out like big old like blacksmith's aprons that she starts handing you, just in case something flies off this, for safety, of course.
Guys, I have a feeling this is gonna be really cool.
Hold it up.
And so she eventually finds her goggles and starts handing out the goggles. So you all have goggles and blacksmith's aprons. All right, it's been a while since I've done this, but I can certainly try. Um I think we're going to do just a I think since there's already quite a few runes on this hammer, we might be able to just use a simple binding spell, and I'll do most of the hard work with drawing the energy out of the heart. Um so if you could just hold the hammer here, and you remember the binding chants that we used to do to hold some of the energy into items.
I remember the chants, even though I don't actually know what half of them meant. I just know what they did.
Well, I'll do most of the work of drawing the energy out, and then I'll join you in the binding. Um, just try and get it all together, and we'll kind of see what happens and where the energies go. Um, all right. I am going to need
Boy.
you, Chauncey, to make me an Arcana check, and I will let you make it with advantage.
Heck yeah. Can I
I'm sure
guide
your
him
Arcana
with
is
the
pretty good.
Arcana check?
Yes.
Ooh, that's not bad. Okay. My proficient, so that'll be +8. So that's 27. I got a 19.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You dig deep into your memories and almost instantaneously pull up the chant. You push yourself to push and pull the energies as you hold this hammer. Once again, in the same sort of synesthesia feeling that you get from some magical items, you definitely feel the hammer. It doesn't have a sentience and doesn't have emotions, but you can almost feel a sort of excitement and readiness in the hammer as you begin to chant it. And Hortensia begins to chant something completely different. The rest of you are just watching this sort of ritual begin to happen as Hortensia is holding the heart and chanting one spell while Chauncey is chanting another spell, holding up the hammer. And she,
Mage armor.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, right.
And she begins to walk backwards with the heart, and you, Chauncey, walk backwards with the hammer, and you do the sort of movements around the sort of um sigil that she has on the ground, as you continue to chant the binding spell, and she begins moving some energies around until literally fire begins to pour out of this heart, and it begins swirling in the air, almost like they don't form actual shapes, but you almost get this sort of draconic sense of the way they move through the air as they begin to weave. And she is bringing this to some kind of crescendo as she's shouting this spell, and you're holding on to this sort of hammer, and she brings the energy down into it and joins you in the same chant as the hammer begins to glow bright like a sun. The goggles don't quite protect you from having to shield your eyes. And it is probably about a good 30 seconds of this bright light and you two chanting together before the light goes dim. And you look, this hammer is white hot, but luckily you have blacksmith's gloves on, and you lower the hammer to the ground as it begins to turn red and then orange. And then it turns back to its golden self, although you know it's probably still too hot to touch at this moment. Your hammer has now moved up to the next level.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, that was exciting, says Hortensia as she kind of takes off the gloves for a moment. Ooh, haven't done something like that in a while.
One of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Well, you get to do all kinds of things like that
Ow.
every day when you work in being an artificer.
Whew. How invigorating.
Yes, well, I think there is some energy that we could use still in here. And she holds up the heart that has dimmed significantly. And you do see like patches of like hardening scale and hardening lava, kind of like it almost has like a cobblestoning effect of this black hardening lava. And the heart has turned from a glowing orange to kind of a little bit of a red orange. The
Um,
glow has also dimmed significantly.
Velantrios takes off his circlet of blasting and he asks, would we be able to infuse some of that with this?
Um, I'm not sure, she says, kind of looking at it a little bit and kind of inspecting it. I think this has all the energy that it can hold for right now. Um,
What about a ring or a pendant?
I think I might be able to do a ring.
Okay, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. I might have a ring around here somewhere. And she kind of pulls out from like just a box of random junk, pulls out a ring. Well, we can certainly do a little bit of um, energy with this one. And she takes the heart, holding it, and she starts walking the ritual circle again, back and forth, waving the ring over the heart before some fire jets out and into the ring, and it once again glows for a moment, white hot, and then fades. Well, I think this would work quite well. Um, oh, one moment, let me quench it. And she walks over and puts the ring into oil.
Just with her hands.
Eh,
Just
She's
chill.
used to this.
Yep.
She has scales. And she hands you the ring. I think this should work pretty well. So this is going to be a Rakdos Guild Signet ring. That's what the item is going to be.
Rakdos.
Guild Signet.
Let me just scroll up. How do you spell Rakdos?
Here.
Rakdos. It's going to be from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica.
It's not pulling up.
I got
Oh.
you. Give me 1 second. I'll put it in chat.
Okay, we'll kind of, you can add it to your character sheet afterwards.
Okay.
But yeah, that is what you have. I believe it allows you to cast Hellish
Oh.
Rebuke 3 times.
Yep.
It is a charge, so it regains 1d3 charges per dawn. And it does require attunement.
Here is.
Do we have any? There's.
Did you
some-
find it?
Yep.
Okay,
I can't
cool.
see it. There's some juice left in there, right?
Oh, there's quite a bit of juice left a surprising amount of juice left in here.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, Virgil, come over here real quick.
Hello. I mean, Chauncey was right. I do quite a bit of fire. So what do you think you could whip up for me with that?
There's quite a few things.
Where do you get? Now, I know this is kind of a personal question, Virgil, and if I just may be so bold, don't bullshit her. Don't bullshit. I mean, you can't really bullshit me either at this point, my mans.
I'm starting to think that Chauncey doesn't understand that religious fire and fire aren't the same fire.
No, it's. I was already thinking, it's probably best if Virgil does not go back to Creator's Hollow. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, while we're in the process of this, Chauncey's gonna do an investigation check against Virgil's spell save DC. How is a 23 against?
Yeah,
your
that'll
spell
do
save
it.
DC?
You see little flickers of flame sometimes in my illusion.
I mean, you've known that.
I've known it's an illusion this whole time, but Chauncey's
You've
like,
also known it's Jed because
yeah,
the illusion went
Right.
down in episode 2.
yeah. No, but Chauncey's just gonna be like, I mean, buddy, Jed, there have been holes in your illusions half the time I've known you since we met back up, and if we're gonna visit my mom and dad, they're gonna pick that thing apart in 10 seconds or less.
All right, my illusions are pretty good, but you go watch as the fire burns away and the good preacher man is gone, and you see a red tiefling covered in tattoos.
Preacher, you're naked.
What is happening?
I most certainly am not, but but y'all can call me Jed, by the way. It's my real name. But
Lyla, can you believe this?
Oh my gosh, what?
I would
Oh
ask
my gosh.
if I ever do put my face back on, you would still call me Virgil, just because it can be messy if you don't.
I don't know. I think I prefer Jed.
Thanks.
I mean, to be fair, you're not the only one who prefers Jed over Virgil for more reasons than you know.
He is a piece of work.
Jed, would you like to so Mr. Shaw can pick his jaw up off the floor?
Hi, Shaw. Yeah, no, I'm not a priest. I'm not a good little blonde human boy.
You're
No.
not even a priest?
No, I'm not.
Oh God, Grandma said stay at home. I should have stayed at home.
Like just tattoos
Speaking of that,
everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, literal like head to toe, like, just celestial writing tattoos all over his body.
I'm gonna be honest. The transition from priest, little good priest boy to badass tattooed tiefling it really has like an effect on Velantrios.
I mean, we can't deny it's hot, but still.
My magic comes from my patron. I'm a warlock.
oh, Hortensia, do you think
Oh, well, now that is new.
Perhaps I
We
have
did.
worked with warlocks before.
Yeah, we put
Um,
didn't what was it? 2 years ago we put one of those together, right?
I think so.
Oh, let me. Chauncey's gonna pull out of his bag of holding. They're both like high level artificers, so they can make any tools they want, and he has tool expertise now, so he has
Yes.
expertise on all tool checks.
Uh-huh.
He's just gonna be like, "Do you think a rod, maybe? A rod? What?
That could work.
Jed, you want a rod?
What?
Just like a stick? Do I want a stick?
Well, of course it will be more powerful. We as part of the ritual we will need you involved. We're going to call upon your patron and infuse some more of the power into this rod. It'll help with spell casting and that sort of thing, drawing upon your own energies. Think of it as a little bit of an amplifier.
Oh, all right. Let's give it a shot.
All right. So I'm gonna need both of your help if you don't mind. I know you probably won't know the words to the spells that we're going to be using, but if you don't mind, may I know the name of your patron, or at least the name you use for your patron?
Mazaran Diel.
All right. And
Mental
she
note to check that later," says
Just,
Chauncey.
yeah, like, just-
I would like to question. Have I ever heard that name?
no, I'm gonna say no. You haven't heard that
Okay.
name before.
Good to know.
And Velantrios just, it's not that he has no interest, it's just that he actively doesn't want to have an interest.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
All right. So, well, I'm going to need you to stand here. The most important thing that you're going to be doing is channeling your power into this rod.
Y'all keep
And
talking about channeling his power into that rod.
Right? I've been struggling not to make a joke this
I
This is
entire
know.
very serious magic business.
it is very serious magic.
Oh, yes, do go on.
I understand the jokes, but working in the field that I work in, sometimes you got to say sentences like that, and you need to keep it cool. So,
Oh my god.
Who's joking? I'm very interested.
We're all interested in his rod.
Right.
anyway, moving on from that comment, we're going to try and work our way through this. Chauncey, I really just need you to kind of corral and control any errant energies that may be flying around. And I, of course, will be in the lead of this little ritual. And of course, you'll stand right there in the center of the circle, and we'll be moving around you. We should
Looks
probably
very out of place.
Yes.
Jed
She
does not
gives
have
you
a
a
lot of
pair of
practice in like actual like ritual craft and like trained magic.
yeah. Now, if you thought making that hammer more powerful was something, calling upon another being from another plane of existence to aid and lend power is more interesting process. So actually, you should probably wear these. And she gives you a pair of blacksmith's gloves.
Mm,
And you might want to put your goggles down.
okay. Very
All
visibly
right.
nervous.
Yeah. And she once again takes the heart and she begins chanting the spells. They're very different this time around. Very dark as she continues chanting, and the flames begin to come out. And there's a darkness to the flames as she's beginning to speak the spells. And Chauncey and Jed, I'm going to need you both to make Arcana checks.
Oh dear.
Chauncey, you've done things like this before, so I'm going to give you advantage. And Jed, I will allow you to get advantage on this check if you spend one of your Warlock spell slots.
Sure. Why
All
not?
right, so you have advantage on the Arcana check. I will also allow you to guidance yourselves because I know you both have guidance.
Yeah. Oh, come on. That was almost so good. Are you kidding me? I rolled a 4 twice.
Okay.
Oh dear.
So
I was gonna
that-
say I rolled a
I do-
5. This is and 5 was the better one with advantage. This ain't great.
Through
Oh,
my
no.
through my power of divination,
Okay.
I assume I could probably see this going horribly wrong. You know, I could see a few minutes into the future. God damn it, Jed, you can have my 20, and Chauncey, you can have my 19.
Hell yeah. That's
All
way
right.
better.
What a trooper. What a
Yeah,
trooper.
so you watch as this ritual kind of continues going. You can almost hear your heartbeat beating like a drum that somehow Hortensia manages to sync her chanting with. As she raises the heart into the air, you can feel the earth shaking as it begins to glow brighter and brighter, almost like she's holding a sun, before she calls out the name of your patron at like this crescendo of the ritual. Mazarendael! And there's a bright flash of light. And you, Jed, are back in the chamber that you see in your dreams, holding this rod in your hands that is glowing white hot. You can feel it through the gloves. And you see Mazarendael chained to the dais look up at you. I see someone has called upon me as well.
Yeah. Getting some help. Setting out on a
Ah,
bit of a journey.
assistance. Yes. I've been waiting for this moment. It seems they want one thing, but I can offer something else instead. On the one hand, you can have power. Little more. Spells burn a bit better. Or I can give you one of my little friends to aid you when you call upon it. Which one would you like? Power or allies?
We'll do power. We'll do power.
So be it. And then the room is filled with light as Hortensia pulls the heart out of the air, and the room returns to normal as you see the heart glowing bright begins to fade back down, and you watch as parts of the heart begin to harden and cool. And you now have a +1 Rod of the Pact Keeper.
There you are.
Oh, you're
froze
back.
for
How
2
long?
seconds, for like 10 seconds.
We were
What
like,
part did...
you were like, God, what did you say? Something about pull out of the air.
Oh, she pulled the heart out of the air, and you watch as the heart begins to scale over a little bit more, and it turns to more of a red orange than an orange red. Well, more of an orange red than a red orange. as the heart begins to cool significantly more. And you now have a +1 Rod of the Pact Keeper.
Neat.
Well, that was certainly something. I had that was some strange energy that I felt. I've never worked with a being like that before, but
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the rod.
of course. If that doesn't start cooling down pretty soon, you may want to go over to that barrel of oil and quench it.
All right, yeah, I'll walk over there and give it a dip.
Yeah, it is just column of steam as you pull out this cooled rod. And yeah, you can attune to it. Well, I have some ideas on what to do with what's left of this, what's left of the energy. If you'd like to hang out, I have some little things that I can do, but I mean, they aren't going to be too special.
Lyla, do you think he even believes in O?
my
Well, I just let you have your existential breakdown in the corner, and I'm gonna head over here to my workbench.
Oh,
I
no.
am a mechanic, not a therapist.
Oh, you are
Above game,
tasting-
I'm super pissed right now because somebody stole my fucking DoorDash pizza.
Oh, no.
Like, I'm so mad.
Terrible. Jail,
Don't fucking matter,
prison,
Sean.
electric chair.
Report it on DoorDash and see if you can get a refund.
Oh, that's
What's that?
horrible. Oh,
No, there's pictures of the goddamn thing in front of my door.
No.
And they'll ask you for proof of that you haven't gotten the pizza and you're just got like an empty
Yeah.
plate.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
all
Anyway.
right. So while you were having your existential breakdown, she does try a few other items. And she manages to drain the heart entirely. You watch as she takes out a few things, like a few wands and a helmet, as well as a few bottles, and you watch as she kind of mixes some liquids together. And eventually, she manages to entirely drain the heart. You watch as the last item fills with the energy. You watch as the whole heart hardens over, cracks into rocks and dust.
Oh.
Well, that is the last of the energy. I have quite a few items, of course, for you. I'm not
don't
sure how
suppose you
useful
need
they
any-
would be. Well, I have this helmet. Oh dear.
Oh no.
As she looks at it, the lenses are cracked, but it should still work
Oh, we won't be doing
relatively
well.
fine.
No, ma'am.
I'm sure it will be relatively fine. But anyway, there's that helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I have this lovely wand, and she kind of flicks it, and the tip glows for a moment before a point across the cave just erupts into fireworks and leaves a black column of smoke for a second or two. It makes a very loud noise. This might be somewhat useful.
Oh, we'll be having that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like something Lyla would want.
We'll be having that.
Oh, of course. And she gives you, it is a wand of pyrotechnics.
Yeah, I know what she is.
She pulls out another bottle. This bottle is like jet black. The
Oh.
bottle, the glass itself is clear, but the contents are jet black. It doesn't really look like a liquid. It has kind of a grayness to it. And she uncorks it, and a column of black smoke comes out and begins to fill the room before she corks it back up. This could be useful if you need to obscure your presence. It might make things too obvious, but it's at least somewhat of an experiment. It was the last thing. It was the last little bit of energy that she pulled out of the salamander heart, and so she gives you an ever smoking bottle.
I already have darkness, so I'm good.
All right, I'll take an ever smoking bottle.
I mean, might as well. Anything could be useful in a different situation.
Exactly.
And she pulls out 3 other slightly smaller bottles. They're obviously potion bottles filled with a sort of glowing orange liquid. I'd be careful with these. Don't when you drink it, don't breathe too hard in the general direction of your friends. And you get 3
Oh.
potions of fire breath.
Ooh. I'll take
Whom's?
those.
And I
Go
will
ahead.
say the helmet is blasted goggles, but they are the curse that forces you to keep them on. That part doesn't function, but the one or two you blind yourself, that one will.
Yeah, still
Um,
no. Mm-mm.
Well,
We
that
don't cover
was
pearls with anything but finery.
well, I'm sure someone can use it.
I think helmets are more a Chauncey style thing.
So yeah, the part of that section that says cursed, only half of that works. You can unattune from it at any time. But if you roll a 1 on the attack roll on the fire beam that shoots out of the eyes, you will blind yourself.
Hot.
So yeah.
We'll put it in the bag for now and figure out if we need it later.
Yep.
Can never hurt. And
Yep.
once again, I get no jewels.
I gave you a ring a few hours ago.
Did it have jewels in it?
Yes, it's inlaid with tiny mother of pearl. It's not my fault you're not paying attention to what I give you.
Well, it's not my fault. It's dark in here. Thank you.
Well, hopefully I was able to provide you with some useful items out of that there salamander heart.
Thank you for your help, Hortensia. I haven't done anything like that in, oh God, since we left the shop. It's just been pickaxes and leather bags and frilly dresses for the last
Oh,
couple of months, which I mean, they're fun and stuffed animals. But the toys, I mean, I'm turning into somewhat of a toy maker these days. That's fun.
that does sound quite fun.
But
How
nothing
about
felt like
this?
life-threatening to make for a long time until today.
Your character's turning into the Santa from Billy and Mandy.
I have to say, it was magnificent.
Well, how about as a parting gift? I've I haven't really needed these in quite some time. I know almost everything in here by heart, and maybe you do too, but having something out there in the field might help. It's my, and she walks over to the desk, opens a drawer, and pulls out a journal that definitely has extra sheets of paper shoved into it and is held tight with a ribbon. These were my notes from my 3rd year working with Corrigan, and has some more dangerous designs in there for infusing weapons and things of that nature. So maybe, you don't always have to rely on little old me every time you want something upgraded or fixed.
Thanks, Hortensia.
And she kind of gingerly hands over her it's probably about almost an inch thick book of just notes, schematics, all kinds of things, bits and bobs. It's not a neat, clean encyclopedia, but given a minute or two of searching, you might be able to find some things you could cobble together into an invention. Um,
Cool.
A little bit of this was going to be some good reading before bed for the next couple of nights.
I'm sure it will be. Um, Well, unless you want to help pore over my notes to help develop more protective measures, I do need to get back to work. But it was lovely to meet you all. I'm sure Tusky will make sure that you're in good hands.
Thank you so much for your help.
Of course.
Thanks, Hortensia.
And you are left to your own devices in the cave. Is there anything that you would like to do?
It's a cave. So
Is Jedidiah still exposed?
Exposed.
Yes.
So Velantrios is just gonna go up to him and poke at his tattoos.
Can I help you?
Just trying to understand what these are.
Your
with
tattoos.
your fingers.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously they're more than just tattoos, right?
Who's to say?
Politeness, friend. Politeness. It's a kindness.
Listen, I don't want to hear anything from you, little miss.
Little what?
God. What
Come a
was
little closer and say that.
You've seen Lyla
Exactly.
fight. I'll let you make that decision.
Make me take my hat off.
I mean, if you want a face full of cards.
Leia's like, hold my shoes.
Blanche is just gonna ignore her and continue looking at the new and improved Jedidiah.
New and improved.
New and improved.
Listen, he has a very he doesn't exactly like the church, okay? So the fact that Jedidiah went from a church boy to a red ass tiefling warlock is very interesting to him. And it's like piqued his interest.
It's poked his interest.
Oh my, shut up.
You're welcome.
It's like, and so he's like, so question, why are the hell are you posing as a follower of O?
That's a pretty personal question there, Velantrios.
I did mention politeness, but you know.
I think you'll find Lila's right about most things, especially when it comes to politeness.
Not
Yeah,
as if
well,
experience.
yeah, well, she's sweet enough to give you a cavity, so.
Am I now?
Look, this was already a pretty big step for me today. Why don't we leave it where it is? And if I decide to tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing, we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Velantrios just sort of takes a step back, folds his arms behind him, and gives a smirk, and he's like, "Okay."
I do certainly hope we find a bridge to somewhere soon, somewhere brighter. Yes, perhaps.
What was that about politeness?
I said, I hope we find a bridge to somewhere brighter soon. That's what I said.
I don't know. I think this workshop of hers is very nice.
I meant, all right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Personalities clash.
So we're waiting for a boat to come pick us up from this cave now, right? Is that the general idea?
About maybe waiting for crew or other
Oh,
things.
I'll investigate the heck out of this workshop.
I
Just
think,
being
yeah, I
curious,
think we're supposed to wait for Tusky.
Oh yes, Tusky.
That's neat. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is maybe like half an hour before Tusky arrives, and you haven't seen him outside of the shack. So it's weird to see that he has regular legs. Not like
that was gonna be my first question.
he is not a lumbering walrus that happens to be wearing a coat. He is literally a humanoid walrus person. He has regular feet. He has a regular pair of shoes. It's just his hands are like giant flippers. And he has a walrus head with huge tusks.
Poor guy. He's always flipping people off.
No. Okay. As we
Okay.
all have vicious mockery cast upon us.
I love it.
Well,
Love it. Thank you.
it was good to see that you all have arrived here. Let me show you around a little bit. I'm not sure how far you explored. I'm sure you met plenty of people around here.
Mm,
Your people are
did we?
remarkably polite.
Yeah. Hortensia and I are actually old friends.
Oh, well, that's good to
Yes.
know. Well, let me you'll be waiting on the crew that'll start sailing out from here tomorrow. Let me actually show you to the ship. Some of the people that will be on your crew will be kind of milling around. Don't worry, we won't require you to do any actual handling of the ship itself, like the rigging or the rowing or anything of that nature. But
I go.
yes, but the plan is, at least, we're going to sail to Creator's Hollow, and then the lovely Toshiko is going to forge some paperwork for one of the companies. I believe we settled on specifically the Cloud Rider Management and Rental, and we're calling this a pleasure cruise. And we're going to register it as such to take you out to where you need to go.
Sounds fabulous to me. I could use a pleasure cruise.
Well, I'm sure it ain't a pleasure cruise where you're going, but
Do you
if
think
we
it's
file it like
believable
that,
that we're taking a pleasure cruise to the Shadowfell system?
well, we don't necessarily have to tell them where you're going, or at least not the right location. It's not like they have the ability to track you in the vortex.
And
Hmm.
I mean,
Fair enough.
who knows what one person finds pleasurable compared to another?
Well,
Right.
there is also that. I have heard stranger destinations. I've heard people taking pleasure cruises to the Hellfire Nebula. So, Shadowfell seems a tad more sane of a choice.
Pain, if you ask me.
Well, let me show you over to the Sheldrake that you'll be riding in. And he walks down, kind of waddles down the hallway a little bit. You begin to see actual like veins of emeralds and emerald crystals poking out of the wall. And he
Ooh.
gets to a cliff where there is a staircase carved that goes down to the water, and there's wooden docks that have been built in this huge cavern, sparkling and twinkling with emeralds, and floating are about 3 different ships. But the one that he points to, the one that's closest, it has 2 sails, one that is a large triangular shaped sail that sits at the middle, and the other is a square one, slightly smaller, that sits on the aft castle of the ship. That's the good old Sheldrake. It'll get you where you need to go, staffed by 25 crew members, as well as a few head of staff. I believe you've met Toshiko. She's going to be serving as the bosun for the ship. Of course, you may have met Cass's brother already, Sherman, Crabfolk. You may have seen him. He'll be serving as the first mate with Leonidas, captain. He's a bit old and crotchety, but you know, that's what tends to happen with Triton that don't have the ocean around them anymore. Of course, he'll be the captain of the ship. The quartermaster is, well, just as average Joe as you can get. And the cook is, well, let's just say he's quite interesting when you meet him.
Well,
But
they
you'll
all
be
sound fabulous.
Yes, they are quite the fabulous crew. They have taken excursions, we'll call them, into the vortex to find various items for clients or other such things. I'm just mapping out the area, mostly trying to find fresher seafood and clams and oysters to sell. Mainly that's what we do when we go into the vortex, but we have picked up an item or two, a magical artifact or two. Visited a few islands. I know the city of Mask is lovely this time of year, but it is a bit far. But they'll be able to take you over to the Shadowfell system quite handily.
Thank you. We really appreciate your
Of course. Of course, of course. Now, of course, we are going to have to talk about a little bit of a fee. It is a pleasure cruise. So we can't really be hauling around oysters and clams. Um, so unfortunately, we are going to have to charge you about 600 gold up front for the paperwork. Luckily, we make enough money with the oyster trade that we can pay our own people, so you do not need to worry about paying their paychecks. However, for the service fee, it'll be 600 gold
altogether or each.
altogether.
Oh, well, no worries then. 120 a pop shouldn't break the bank.
Right?
Sounds good to me.
Hardly.
Do.
I have to pull out a calculator to figure out what that does to mine. There we
Well,
go.
seeing as how you've recently split 6,000 gold,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I've got over $1,000 left. Easy.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, the gold management and beyond is actually pretty easy.
all right.
There you go.
When the crew will be in the morning. I recommend, if you would like, you could get on the ship, find your nice, lovely cabin, get situated for the evening. Especially since I'm not sure how experienced you all are with sleeping on ships and boats. It might be a bit hard. Get a little accustomed to it while it's still simply floating instead of rocking and rolling on the waves of the astral sea.
Most
And
of
maybe
the
meet some of the crew.
rocking and rolling on the astral sea have been hard, but ain't been cause of sleep.
How many rooms are there?
Oh, there's plenty to house everybody. It's probably you probably all have to share a room. There's plenty of hammocks hanging in there for all of y'all.
Okay, so we would all share a room.
Yes, you wouldn't be sharing a room with the crew, but you would certainly be sharing. There is a on the first deck, you'd be on the first deck that leads right out onto the actual open air part of the ship itself. There are two rooms on either side of the captain's quarters. They are for guests, and they have hammocks and trunks aplenty, as well as desks and other such things and amenities. And the crew sleeps below deck. And then below that will be the storage compartment, but there won't really be much in there except for all the rations and the food and the hardtack and things of that nature, as well as the kitchens.
Well, I mean, as long as we don't get attacked by hordes of the undead, it'll be an improvement over last night's sleeping scenario.
Yeah.
You do raise a good point.
No offense,
Ah.
Shaw. I'm sure your home is beautiful when it's not being terrorized by undead hosts.
Usually is, yeah. It's the first for me too.
But apparently not for your grandmother.
No.
Well, interesting stories that I'm sure you're not going to share with me aside. It might be a good idea to at least meet some of the crew in case you have any special needs or any special requests, and also make sure that they know what dangers they're going to be getting into.
Oh, yes. Well, do lead the way then.
Of course. And these stairs are kind of narrow. They're kind of there's plenty of room for you all who are normal sized people. Um Tusky is like leaning up against the wall and very slowly making his way down because he's a huge top heavy walrus person that could topple over the stairs at any second. Um and he makes his way down the stairs. It takes you about twice as long because he's taking every step very, very slowly. Finally, he gets down to the dock. And you do actually see Toshiko kind of walking around on the deck of the ship with Oki the lantern following her.
Aw.
Um,
I
as
love
she
him.
turned, "Oh, hello. I see you have returned. I'm
Oh,
assuming you are going to be taking the Sheldrake."
oh, is that the name of the? Yeah, yes.
"Wonderful. Well, come on board. Make sure you have all of your stuff with you. We'll be putting them in the guest quarters."
Thank you so much for all of your help. We really appreciate it.
"Of course." And she kind of walks over towards the door, and "It'll be right through here. Afterwards, we're going to go to the captain's quarters where everybody is meeting. You'll be able to meet the main people you'll be interacting with, and we'll discuss plans on what exactly we are doing. Um, and I'm sure you got the spiel from Tusky. Um, of course. And
Yes.
so she opens the door to the room. There are about 2 more hammocks than necessary in this room for you. So there's 7 hammocks in total. There's plenty of space between them. There's trunks. There are a few desks that are kind of pushed up against the wall for you to write with. There are portholes along the side that you can use to look out of, so plenty of light comes into the room, although not really at the moment because you're in the middle of a emerald cave. Um, and so, of course, you put down your stuff, you pick your beds, and make your way on over to the captain's quarters. Sitting at a desk, hunched over it, kind of looking at various maps, is a blue Triton with sort of dark blue stripes all over him. He has a ridge going down the center of his head, and his ears are pointed like elf's ears, but then there's almost flying fish fins that come out from behind them. He has webbed hands and sort of a fin along his forearm as he's shuffling these papers around. You also see a very large, similar to Sherman, crab man, who is kind of sitting in a very small chair in the corner of the room next to the place where the captain's bed is. Of course, Toshiko lets you in, and Leonidas, the guests we will be taking have arrived. And standing, almost bolting up from the chair, is a very haggard looking rabbit person, a Harengon. "Well, it's about damn time they showed up.
Oh, um,
All right. Well, first
Percy.
order of business," he says, like standing in front of you. "I need to know everybody's dietary requirement." "Reggie, we will get to that," as the Triton stands up. And at this point, as he kind of shifts away, this Triton is also big, and as he shifts away, there is the most boring looking man on the planet standing in the back of the room. And he kind of just waves as Leonidas comes around. "Well, I see you are the guests that Tusky sent. I wasn't told much. I was just told that you'd be taking the ship out into the vortex. So I would like to know specifically the location and the purpose of your journey. just in case you end up bringing back anything strange, we'd be able to fiddle with the paperwork.
Velantrios puts his hand behind Layla's back and pushes her forward, and he's like, "Your time to shine."
I'm sorry, what?
Shoves
think-
Lyla into the center of the room. Just go on.
Meanwhile, above game, my pizza just got here.
I saw that.
In the spirit of it's being a rather truthful day, I think we might not want to pull the wool over this nice man's eyes. Seeing as how he's taking us where we need to go.
Are you implying that Lyla would lie to a gentleman? How rude of her.
What I'm saying is that we need to go to the Ashen Hold in the Shadowfell system.
That's the one. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've heard of such a place. You wouldn't happen to have it. I don't believe I have any maps of the Shadowfell system.
We do, don't we?
Yeah,
Yes,
Chauncey's
you
gonna,
do.
out of his bag of holding, he's gonna be like, I do have a map I can lend you for our trip, if that'd be helpful.
That would be mighty helpful.
I'll pass the map over.
Yep, and he spreads it out. Right. Ashenhold is one of the demiplanes that are circling the Shadowfell system. Yeah, it seems we might be able to plan a route to get there pretty quickly. He just starts kind of tracing with his finger. So what exactly are you trying to do here?
We're truth, right? That's what it is. We're
Yeah.
bounty hunting.
Well, yeah.
Wait,
Are you going to be bringing your target back alive, or are you going to be bringing them back dead, or bringing them back at all?
That depends
That's a
on the
great
target.
question.
Yes, we don't know the answer to that yet at all.
That will make the paperwork harder, but nothing that we can't fiddle around with. Our lovely Toshiko is very good at paperwork. But hopefully you come up with an answer sooner rather than later. We want to be able to make sure that we can prepare the hold to as high or as low of standards as you desire for this particular target.
Oh, if we're bringing him back alive, we can make it a shit cell down there for one of them.
Fair enough.
Like, literally, just pour our shit in there.
Oh. Oh, wow.
I'll speak into Chauncey's mind, and I'm like, I don't really care about the rest of them, but I would prefer Virgil not be killed. He's a lot less useful to me dead.
Oh, I honestly, Jed, I almost forgot Virgil was one of the ones we're after. That took over there.
Yeah, it's sort of why I'm coming, because he
Uh-huh.
fucked over my whole plan.
Mhm.
How's that
Right.
going? In his
So,
mind, Chauncey's like, is that going all right, by the way?
Yeah, it's going awesome. It's going great, Chauncey. I'm about to fuck off to halfway across the world to go clean up Virgil's mess.
Okay, I mean, this is very aggressive of you.
Sorry, whatever, fine. I just sever the psychic connection.
Is Blanchard, like, is there an indication, like,
First
with
one
the
got stolen.
faces? of the
Intense
conversation?
staring.
Intense staring, and just like,
Chauncey's easy to read emotionally. He
I
just
was about
looks
to say
like
Chauncey's
vaguely
probably
hurt
the
for a
one.
moment.
Yeah, Jed is probably the one keeping his cool, and it's probably like when you have those sequences where people in sitcoms are actually talking to each other in their heads, and they're kind of like just gesticulating, but there's nothing coming out expressively.
just conversation with their faces.
Yep.
Miss Lyla, I'm starting to think you're the only person here who hasn't lied to me yet.
Hey, I haven't lied to you.
and I never would.
I believe you.
The one that is still actively lying.
Fine.
Everyone else has stopped lying, but Lyla hasn't.
I've never lied. I don't know what to lie about.
Hasn't come up.
I love the fact that Velantrios is like the thumbs, like the sore thumb out in the group, and yet he's the most innocent one there.
Yeah, none of the rest of us are.
No.
All
Wait,
right.
no, Chauncey's totally, completely innocent.
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah. Actually, it's probably Shaw. He's just like out for adventure.
Yeah.
He's just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
What did I get wrapped up into?
The last
like,
24 hours for Shaw has been just
Roller coaster.
He's like the red shirt in the group.
Oh goodness. Well, you were downed the most times, so yeah, I think you have been designated as the red shirt.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He gets brought back up each time.
very
I mean,
true.
Jed has saved my life twice personally. So
Yeah.
having a bit of a conflict right now.
All right. So is there anything else that we need to know?
I mean, do you really? I guess dietary needs. Where'd the heron gone go?
My time to shine! And he comes up. All right.
think
I need
Chauncey's probably
everybody.
the only one with special dietary needs.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jed.
I'm just trying to
I mean, can't Dhampir's also
be a friend.
regularly?
I mean, I'm good as long, but if we do get caught out in the middle of the void for a couple weeks, I will probably need to drink someone's blood.
Wouldn't the hare be able to just, drain some meat?
Does that come from the source? How does that work?
Oh, I mean, well,
Blood light.
typically, I've mostly just been drinking from the proverbial tap for the last couple of years whenever I needed to. If I was home, my mama, she'd draw blood from some of the patients, and she had a special storage container where we could drink it later and it was still all fine. But I don't have one of those.
Is there one that like tastes best?
Chauncey, when you ask that, he just blushes briefly and he's just like, no comment.
Oh.
Well, I might be able to provide some, depending on, how much I can squeeze out of what steaks we have down. Anyway, it's most likely going to be dried meat anyway. But anything else? Just maybe some blood?
Yeah, that's essentially.
You want to let me bite you sometime?
That'll be a no.
I wasn't talking. Chauncey was talking to the rest of the group, the people he actually knows. He's like, hey, can I bite one of you maybe? It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
What are the consequences of
Some
that?
oranges to ward off the scurvy.
Listen, in order to fight off scurvy, you need a balanced diet.
And oranges.
Actually,
Cross
all
that bridge when we get there. Why don't we just say that?
Actually, there's actually they actually discovered that oranges actually contributed to the scurvy.
Ooh.
Cool.
Isn't limes, which is why they were called limeys?
Something like that.
Maybe. I know it was limes and oranges.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I believe, and Leonidas starts shifting the maps around on the table. I believe the best option for us once we set sail is we'll be spending about a week out on the open ocean before we probably are going to run into the city of Mask. We'll probably dock there for a day. Hopefully, no one gets into too much trouble, and then we'll set sail. Probably, given the orbit of some of these things within the Shadowfell system, we might end up having to pass by and even dock at the city of Bats. You might find he motions to you, Chauncey. You might find yourself at home there, and you might be able to find some extra blood there. It is a city entirely of vampires. However, it is a demiplane, which sometimes these ships have a hard time getting in and out of. But otherwise, we're probably going to need to hit the River Styx and sail on by the Skull of Mogud, and then finally make our way over to Ashenhold. Hopefully, it will be an easier way back, not as tough. Hopefully, we'll also be able to hit the city of Mask again on the way back, but that'll be probably another week. Whole journey will probably take about 2 weeks to get there, 2 weeks to get back, hitting Mask after 1 week each direction. If things orbit in our favor, sometimes that doesn't happen, and we have to improvise out on the open water.
The
What?
open. Oh, I guess you would call it water.
Everyone kind of calls it what the where the islands float is still called sea level. Going down under the islands is still considered diving. Going up is considered above the islands is considered flying. The language is still there, even though the water is not there anymore. The language is still there. They still call it water, waves, storms, squalls, wind, that sort of thing. There's not any special language. It's still
I love it.
referenced as a sea, even though you are literally flying.
Velantrios looks at his group and he's like, I'm excited. I've never been on a boat before.
Oh, there.
Oh,
I mean, hopefully you don't get seasick.
What's seasickness?
oh.
Oh my.
Well,
Let's just
let's
hope you don't
just
find
hope
out.
you don't find out.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, the cabins come with complimentary buckets just in case.
And suddenly Velantrios is looking very nervous and he's looking between his group and he's like, what's seasickness?
Just try not to be any nervous. It makes it worse.
Okay.
Velantrios has never left Gold Rush. Good to know. Well, unless y'all have...
It just means if you start to feel queasy, get that bucket.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Not really much we can do about seasickness. You just gotta wait for your sea legs to come.
Yep. Just hang out in the hammock and take a nap.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we settle in now?
Well, there's still a few more hours of sunlight if you all want to walk around on the deck or find something else to do around the cave, meet some more people, but otherwise, it would probably be a good idea.
All right. Well, yeah, we can pack in.
Okay. Let's pack in, go to our room, do the arranging.
Yeah, so you all go into your room and you figure out where you're going to be sitting or sleeping for the evening.
Velantrios chooses the left bottom bunk.
They're all hammocks. They're
Hammock,
not
whatever.
bunks.
Hammock, potato, potato.
I just want a window. That's all I care about.
Lyla is probably gonna demand like open space, like on either side. Like no one's taking that bunk, no one's taking that bunk. Like
Well, I mean,
You're
there are
going
two
between the two empty
extras.
ones.
Yeah.
I love that.
Everyone else gets a cuddle pile except for Lyla.
no, I need like extra space. Like I need my zone, my privacy. She's gonna like doing her best to like perform her ablutions before she goes to bed.
Mhm. You all bed down for a lovely long rest. And
While people are sleeping,
uh-huh.
Jed is like having a lot of trouble sleeping. He's sort of like seething with anger,
Uh-huh.
as he often is, and he just sort of abruptly stands up and jets out of the room, and he's gonna go up the top of the deck, and he's just like sits there and holds the key knife thing from his dad, and stares at them angrily into the night.
So was this after everybody went to bed or before everybody went to bed?
I think it was after.
It was
Yeah.
probably as things were happening.
Because I mean, either way, so Lovey May doesn't sleep. We have established this. We all know it. The robot just sits there. And
Yes.
so Chauncey, I don't know if he was asleep yet or if he was still. He's been rifling through Hortensia's notes most of the night, not really talking. He also has way too many pillows because he pulled them out of his bag of holding. He probably offered to share some. So if anybody wants like an extra pillow, you got a pillow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chauncey has like 15 pillows in his bag of holding. It's fine.
Probably made him himself.
Yeah, he did.
Of course.
And he's gonna be like, oh, okay. And he's probably stuck on one of the top bunks precariously, almost falling out as he just like, it's not precarious. He has spider climb, so it's fine. He's just gonna plop out and be like, I see what? Ugh. I'm gonna go check on him. And he's just gonna dart out and follow Jed and be like, because he's also meant to talk to him, like actually talk to him. So yeah, he's gonna. I don't think it's that hard to follow an angry red tiefling person covered in tattoos who is
No.
fuming. So
No.
is he just on? He's just on the deck, right?
Yeah. And there's like little wreaths of flame sort of flickering around him as he's just like angrily seething, staring at this blade.
You know you're gonna catch one of the sails on fire if you don't
Jesus,
calm down,
Chauncey.
right?
Should put a bell on you. Wow.
I mean, half of my parentage is very good at sneaking up on people in the night. What can I say?
Yeah,
I try to shrug it off sometimes. But...
She was scary sometimes.
Oh, I guess you wouldn't remember, would you? That's neither here nor there, though. Jed? What's the matter? Why are you? What's this about? What's going on?
I know I told you about my dad a long time ago.
Yeah, you did.
And I've been so angry for so long about it. Mad at the stupid church, mad at the town, mad at him, mad at everybody. But now I have something more to go on, and it's kind of making me even more mad at him for, I don't know, fucking up, or for getting involved with it in the first place, or I don't know. It's driving me crazy.
I mean, at least you know more now than you did when we were kids, right? Like, I remember you used to spend half your school day drawing those horribly ugly little doodles about the church and all those other things. But I mean, I knew what you told me some of what was going on, so I knew that. But it hurts though, I get that. I'm not good with people, Jed. I've never been good with people, but
Not entirely
sometimes
true, Chauncey. You're probably the nicest person I've ever met.
that's
And
you're too sweet, Jed. But
in that moment, Velantrios comes running up behind them, l-
Oh.
looks over the edge and just throws up.
Seasick already.
Right.
What you're holding the dagger, right?
Yeah.
Can I see that?
Yeah, I've kind of been wanting you to take a look at it. And I hand it to you. I'm like, turns out Dad was a warlock too. And for
I
the same
mean,
patron and everything.
that would explain your complexion, Jed.
Yeah. No kidding. But apparently these are a key of some kind that I need to unlock, like 4 locks somewhere in the world. And my
It's
dad
5.
was supposed to do that. Was it 5?
It's 5.
5. I need to find 4. There's
Yeah,
5
You
in
need to find
total.
4. You are
Four
aware
more.
of where one of the locks is,
Cool.
and you have the key for that lock.
Cool.
You now need to find the 4 other locks and the 4 other keys that go with that lock.
So yeah, apparently that was what my dad was doing before, he got killed. So
You
Is-
can just on the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Jed, is finding these keys gonna help you do what you want to do? Is this what you want to do?
I will do anything to destroy the church in that town. Anything.
Anything?
Velantrios just over.
That's after throwing up.
Oh my god. Oh, I forgot Velantrios also reached the church, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He has a very complicated history with the church since, they treat him like crap.
I mean, I get it, Jed. I get it. I know. And I mean, you and me, neither one of us, we were the only 2 kids practically in the whole school who didn't go to church once a week because we weren't welcome or allowed. And I get that, and I know, but you're going to hurt people in that town that I don't think you want to hurt.
People in that town hurt me already. I'm not doing anything that hasn't already been done.
Lantros is basically the devil on his shoulder. And he's like, in my opinion, that whole town can burn, starting with the church. As he starts throwing up again.
Oh, wonderful.
Beautiful.
You know, I'm Jed. Look me in the eye and tell me that you want. God, wait, what's the preacher's daughter's name?
Birdie.
Birdie.
Look me in the eye and tell me that you want to destroy Birdie.
That's not fair. And I wouldn't.
I know the church. I know, but when you lump in the whole town, you lump in the people that I care about. People, for all his faults, I still won't. I don't want Delmas to die. I don't want Dez. I don't want. Gertie is just finishing her next manuscript for an erotic novel.
There's the ultimate motivation.
Jed does
We
blush
must know
a
how
little
it
bit,
ends.
remembering the erotic horse
what?
novel.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Look,
I
hard
promise
choices
you,
have to be made sometimes, and I set out to do this a long time ago, and I'm not stopping now.
and I promised you when we were kids that I'd help you as best I can. But if You go after everyone in that town like they're all responsible for what happened to you. That might not make you any better than the ones who actually did it.
Well, I'm okay with that.
And
There
Valantrius
has
is
to be
like,
justice.
Valantrius is like, amen.
Beautiful.
Are you gonna look at this key knife thing or not?
Fine. I'll cast Identify on the knife thing.
All right. The identify spell does not turn up anything other than it is a key meant to open a lock that leads to a cell in Pandemonium. The plane that presumably, from what information you've been given, something resides, possibly Mazarandael, possibly something else resides that Jed once released.
This is a key to a lock in. Chauncey's just looking at like he didn't fucking even piss around ritual casting at this point.
Right.
So his eyes are just fucking like glowing gold, and he's just like, "Your keys to Pandemonium? That's what your dad was after? That's what you're after now too?"
Yeah, I am.
And you think with the state this world is in, that's what we need? To let something out of a literal hell.
Well, this world is already hell enough. Might as well add a little more.
Well, what? That's why we should try to make it better.
I don't expect you to understand, Chauncey. But I'd appreciate your help. Do you think you can fix it?
Can I fix above game? Can Chauncey fix this dagger? Or does it need to be anything special?
Probably not. The mending cantrip is probably good enough. It's still intact magically.
It's
Even
just
though it's
physical
in pieces,
contact.
it's intact magically.
Can I? Here, Chauncey's gonna hold him. Just gonna be like, stick both pieces together, real quick for me, Jed. And he's just from behind his ear. He's gonna pull out a sewing needle and just plink it in the center. And there's a crackle of magic as he casts mending on it. And he's just gonna like, there you go.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Thought it'd be more complicated than that. Thanks. Thank you. That worked great. I think.
Just I don't know the man that you've become, but I knew the boy that you were. And you've just gotten angrier.
Well, I have a lot to be angry about.
I know.
But
Are we gonna stop and see your? Are you gonna stop and see your mom when we stop off in Creator's Hollow?
yeah, I figure that's where we'll probably stay. Free rooms and everything.
I should probably visit. And I really shouldn't. Oh God. Fun.
What? Your parents are gonna love to see you.
Oh, and I know that, but nobody in my family knows that Delmas and I broke up yet.
Oh.
And nobody knows I'm talking to you again. This is fine.
Well, I mean, so what? I mean, yeah, we haven't talked much since we were like kids, but
there's just like a sideways glance, and Chauncey's like, "You're right. We haven't talked much since we were kids."
Can I roll insight on that?
Yeah, you can. And Chauncey, if you would like to roll deception.
I can't guidance my deception. I am not going to guidance my deception.
We both just plainly guidance in front of one another.
It's like, suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Chauncey rolled a 3 plus 1 for charisma. He got a
Cool.
4.
I'm glad you did very bad. I didn't do great, but I did better than that. I got an 11.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that you know something's up. Chauncey is not.
Subtle spell detect thoughts.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Oh,
So
God.
I see,
what
Chauncey.
would Jed see?
What, does he see thoughts? Does he read memories? What's going on?
Whatever surface level, unless you're trying to pry.
Just surface level.
Surface level would be like, yeah, we haven't talked since we were kids, since we spent an entire year, and it just kind of cuts to like, there's like a slow-mo cut, and just like there's blood, and there's Jed laying on the ground, and there's crying and screaming for Chauncey's mom before he just turns and walks away.
And that's what you get.
Yeah. So Jess definitely like looks pretty stunned for a second. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, right. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. I really, kind of a crazy coincidence, all things considered, that we ended up together again.
You're right. No, I mean, I just, the way things went the last time I saw you, I don't want to happen again. And I know I can be a better friend now than I was back then.
I can be a better friend to you too.
And hopefully stop you from destroying the lives of a bunch of innocent people.
Right. Well, we can agree to disagree on some things. But why don't you come here? And I like unbutton my shirt a little bit and like lower it past my shoulder, and I'm like, my patron gave me a new ability recently. If you write your name on my body, then I can talk to you anywhere, anytime.
Oh. It's just that meme of that girl that it's just, Chauncey just has that meme moment where he's like, oh. And you're so just shoulder area?
Yeah, this is one of the more empty spots.
I mean, okay, it just flashed through his mind. So Chauncey's gonna take a quick. Am I finger? Do we needle? Do you want to? What do we
Just
do?
just touch it.
He's actually gonna just reach out and he's gonna touch the shoulder like gently, and just be like, I don't want to hurt him.
You do, and you watch flames sort of etch out from your finger and write your name onto my shoulder. I think it does hurt a little bit. It does hurt Jed a little bit. It's still like burning him a little bit. But he's like, all right, no, we can't lose each
Can
other
I, like-
again.
Oh, cool. And while we're talking, Chauncey's hand is just absent-mindedly moving up. He's checking to see if there's still scars. Wait.
There's 100% still a scar.
Oh god. Okay. This is great. Oh fuck. Yeah, withdrawing the hand.
And
Oh,
on that note, we will bring the episode to a close. So join us next week as they begin their adventure into the vortex, stopping by Creator's Hollow first, of course. We will see you all very soon.